is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Sea anemones are the most disgusting of all tidal creatures. Their thick tentacle arms are engorged with the collected urine that makes up much of tide pools. Whale urine, fish urine, otter urine, crab urine, all sucked up by the moon and deposited in these natural outhouses. Clownfish share a symbiotic relationship with sea anemones. The clownfish cleans the sea anemone. In exchange, the anemone sprays urine on the face of the clownfish. It's one fetishistic delight. Contrary to popular belief, sea urchins are not in fact animals. Indeed, they are not alive at all. They are simply the clumped-together leavings of the ocean's denizens.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. You are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do here at Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
And Angie.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450. Free as in freedom. And while we're waiting for those calls, I got a little show prep, Angie. Looks like, well, from CNBC here, Annie Nova writes, the government took this single mom's $3,000 tax refund to cover her student loans, and she's trying to get it back. And I think this is interesting because, well, these student loans have basically become the way to create serfs out of this generation that is younger than I.
Right.
And it scares the heck out of me that America has put into debt slavery nearly a generation, and certainly, it's. I mean, if you are to believe that smart people go to college, and that's what they would like us to believe, then many of the smartest people of a generation have been thrown into debt slavery because, you know, the important part is you get to college, not how you pay for it, and then of course sign all this, and then we'll keep you in debt slavery for the rest of your life.
They'll give you that money.
Yeah, they're happy to do that. So. Going on here, this story, as she scanned the letter's black type, Alexis Patterson felt herself go numb. The U.S. Department of Treasury applied all or part of your payment to delinquent debt that you owe, it read. Patterson stopped reading. One thing mattered now. the single mother would not receive her $3,000, that's $3,063, by the way, tax refund, including her child tax credit. So it's not entirely a tax refund in this circumstance. There's a little bit of welfare thrown in there, too.
Yep.
The Republicans like this particular type of welfare because you have to fill out a tax form to get it. The government would instead apply the money to her past due student loan account. She and her 11-year-old daughter, Ophelia, have been homeless over the past few months in Portland, Oregon. A refund, she hoped, would help them secure a place to stay. Everything just fell out from beneath me, Patterson, who's 47, said. Tax refunds are a lifeline for many people. The average check from the IRS in 2019 so far is about $2,795, which represents 6 weeks of income for the typical family in the U.S., and the largest cash infusion 1 in 3 households will see all year. So this is just it's a big boatload of money. It's like winning scratchers for a lot of people.
Everyone likes tax time.
Yeah, well, I guess my first advice is don't fill out the W-2 form. I haven't filled one of these things out in a while, so if the names have changed or if I've got it wrong, please forgive me.
Okay.
But don't fill it out in such a manner that you will receive taxes. Fill it out in such a manner that you will pay them.
Okay.
When the time comes. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but you have to figure out whether or not you're going to be head of household, whether you're going to get an earned income tax credit, whether you're going to get a child tax credit, and a whole variety of things. Mm-hmm. You can figure it out ahead of time and then fill in the proper number because it's just a number. I used to fill in 0. Then I realized, I get a big tax return. Well, that means I'm getting a free loan to the government. So I started filling out 1. And when that didn't work out, then I started putting 2. And the reason is that you want to actually pay the government. You want to write a check at income tax time.
Now, isn't it correct that if you put 1 or 2 or however many you claim when you fill that form out, that they take out more money each check?
As it worked when I was doing it, it was the 0 that resulted in the most amount of money taken out of your check.
Okay, so the more people that you claim, the less they take out.
Correct.
Okay.
So the bigger the number, I mean, if you had like 9 dependents or whatever, then obviously they take very little out because the expectation is that you'd get more back.
Okay.
Well, ultimately, if this lady would have taken less out of her paycheck and given the government less money, then they would have had less to seize.
And she wouldn't have got so much back for her refund.
Well, she, at this point, hasn't gotten anything back.
Right, yeah.
They have awarded themselves her refund. And so, anyway, here she's getting about an average for a household, and it's probably the biggest cash infusion that she's expecting to see in that household. And this is true for most Americans. For an increasing number of people who've fallen behind in their student loans, however, that relief never comes. The U.S. government has an extraordinary collection powers on federal debts and can seize borrowers' tax refunds and earned income and child tax credits as well as their wages and Social Security. When you take a student loan, you're signing, especially if you're taking that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or whatever the heck that stuff is, or I can't remember all of it. But when you sign up with the government to take a student loan, you're signing up with the most rapacious and dangerous creditor on the planet because they can do whatever they want to you.
Oh, yeah, you sign that right up. You say, hey, you can take it, you can have it if I haven't paid it. But if she can't afford to pay her student loan, why would they think taking her refund is going to help her?
Well,
it's not going
to help her.
Start her on good payment history.
Right. They're just, at this point, she's got bad payment history, and they're intending to get as much of that money as they can get. And that's why I say this is debt slavery. This is debt serfdom. I've been using these terms because that's what I believe.
Well, whatever she went to college for is not working out for her. So why should she have to pay the debt?
Well, it's a good question, but they look to her to take the gamble, not them. And that's the paper you sign. I'm not saying it's what I feel like is that we've all been lied to about college, and including me. Now, college wasn't that expensive. I'm 48 years old. When I was in school, we were told, you smart kids, you go off to college. You dumb kids, you go to the Votech, right? And that's what more or less, the line they fed us. I'm not saying that's what they said. They would never say that because that would be too harsh.
So they dumbed it down.
Right. But the teachers who all went to college all wanted you to do as they had done and gone to college because they believe that that's the best path. And it certainly was, and it probably still is. But the problem is that now these lending agencies, backed by the government to some extent, now have stepped their way in, and they're taking a larger and larger and larger slice of that piece of extra payment that you get, and it takes longer and longer and longer to pay it back. Sure, if you're a doctor or an engineer or maybe a lawyer, and there's probably a handful, nurses do really well, a handful of other careers out there, then it makes a lot of sense. But if it's not those handful of careers, then it's probably a bunch, or you can go work for the government because they love degrees.
Oh, of course.
They're all about that. But after that, it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. We just paid off my wife's student loan just within the last 6 months. And it was a nice day. Yep, paid, finally. Now, mind you, this lady hasn't worked in about going on 12, at least 11 years.
I was going to ask if she used her degree.
She used it,
okay,
but she never paid it back. She couldn't have.
Yeah.
Right? The extra money she would have made working someplace else, no, there's no way.
Nope.
And she got a degree in something that she was interested in as opposed to something that was going to pay well. So she went into
that's what most people do.
Social work.
Yeah.
And so that didn't work out particularly well. This year, the U.S. government has already taken $3.3 billion from 1.4 million student loan borrowers. So a large percentage of the population, about 0.5% of the population, from their federal tax refunds, compared with the $2.3 billion from 1.2 million borrowers in 2016. So it's going up. They're going after more and more people. According to, this is data provided to CNBC by the U.S. Treasury Department, it's also pulled almost 50 million this year from 91,000 borrowers' state tax refunds.
If they see that people aren't able to pay them back, why are they still giving away so much money?
Like to new people that are coming in?
Yes.
Well, don't think the government's losing out here. They're a creditor that can collect. More or less, if you're going to work on the books, they're going to get paid. That's why they're willing to put this out. Essentially, they're using their tax power to collect. And unlike any other borrower out there, you can borrow from lots of people. I mean, and only like Vinny DeShuck, he's the only one who's going to be worse. You know what I mean? It just keeps on going up, up, up. Patterson, going back to the lady here now, is now scrambling to get her refund back. She's finding the process close to impossible. She owes around $80,000 in student loans. Borrowers in financial distress
and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Free Talk Live.
Why do you refer to someone that's a genetic anomaly as a boy pretending to be a girl, as if this was just some whim they took into their head overnight, as opposed to somebody who is actually born with a genetic problem, which means their mind and their body are mismatched?
We're not talking about the ones that have the two X and Y. We're talking about the boy who just decides.
Have you ever actually met and had a conversation with a transsexual?
No.
Well, it would actually be really a good idea to dispel some of your ignorance before you start spouting it all over national radio like there's not enough ignorance to go around in America. Goodbye. Bye, Felicia.
Oh, man.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. Tonight, it's Mark with you.
And Angie.
The number is 855-450-3733. We're talking about how the United States government has been taking more and more people's tax refunds to pay off their student loans. It doesn't seem to matter what condition you're in financially, they're going to take it anyway. One way that you can, well, protect your money from organizations that might want to take it is by having your money in cryptocurrency as opposed to U.S. dollars. And Bitcoin.com is your source for finding out all kinds of information about cryptocurrencies, probably most specifically Bitcoin Cash, which they believe to be the best and are making a pretty good case for that. So you go to Bitcoin.com and they can help you choose a Bitcoin Cash wallet, for instance. And, you know, the wallet will hold other cryptocurrencies too, some of them. And you can buy Bitcoin Cash. You can show you where to spend your Bitcoin Cash, places like saveatpurse.com. You can also read the latest news and engage with the community on their forum. Matter of fact, you can get some free Bitcoin Cash. Just go to free.bitcoin.com. But, you know, learn more. Go there. Start poking around. It's Bitcoin.com. I think you're going to be hearing a lot more about Bitcoin Cash these days because, well, I believe a bull run has begun in the cryptocurrencies. Just a belief. I am not a fortune teller. I do not see the future, but that's what I think.
The trend says as.
Yeah, the trends, right? Okay. Let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
It was announced yesterday that Walgreen, all the Walgreens will only sell cigarette products to 21 years or older starting next year.
I didn't think Walgreens sold cigarettes at all.
Well, they sell tobacco products, but it has been like 18.
Well, 18's the legal age, right?
Yeah, 18. Yeah, they sell all types of cigarette products and also alcohol products. But now, due to it's a federal law, and they're only going to sell to 21 years or older.
What do you mean a federal law?
Well, that's what I want to know. That's why this is what was announced yesterday on the news.
It looks like amid FDA pressure is what it's saying here. Walgreens to raise tobacco buying age to 21. See, I mostly go to CVS, and CVS, I guess, isn't selling tobacco products these days, and I support them in that. It doesn't seem like an organization that's put together to heal people should be selling, the product that kills the most. I'm not against people's right to smoke, but I am for a business's right to sell what they want to sell. And, Free Talk Live doesn't sell cigarettes. And if CVS doesn't feel like it's right for them to sell cigarettes, then by God, there shouldn't be some kind of, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a reason to get upset or protest. I think it's a good move on their part. If your business model centers around these things, then I can understand it. But, when I see many of these convenience stores that make most of their money from lottery tickets, tobacco, and alcohol, it just looks like it's like a place for bad decisions.
No, but when did it become a federal law?
It's not.
Walgreens have to sell only to 21 years or older. I thought, here's the thing, is that I thought they were just working on that. We just only have 5 states that were trying to make it 21. So why is Walgreens going to raise the age to 21? I mean, because the federal government is pressuring them?
The FDA put Walgreens on notice in February, accusing the pharmacy chain of violating rules that prohibit selling cigarettes and other tobacco products to underage buyers. That's people under the age of 18. Walgreens, the FDA noted, is currently the top violator among pharmacies that sell tobacco products. Some 22% of Walgreens locations inspected by the agency caught employees illegally selling tobacco products to minors, the FDA said. So, what likely happened here was the FDA said to Walgreens, you can pay the fine that comes with this, and it's not going to be fun, or you can stop selling to people under the age of 18 so that you aren't breaking the laws anymore. Or under the age of 21, so you aren't breaking the laws anymore.
So instead of paying the fine, they're only going to sell to 21 years or older?
That's what I'm. That's me guessing from an article that I just pulled up while you were talking. It's just a guess, but that's how these things tend to work.
Okay, and then also the federal government, they want to pass a federal law to make it 21 years or older, like the whole country.
Yes, they're calling that T21.
Yeah, they're working on that. So the Walgreens is doing it because of the penalty. I'm like, how come they have to do it 21? That's what I want to know.
Now you know.
Why? I'm saying, if you're an employee, why would you be selling it to minors? Don't you have to under 18? And how did they get caught for doing this?
Well, they're sending in. The FDA sends in, people who are under the age of 18 to buy cigarettes, and if they're sold cigarettes at the counter, then they're in violation. The Walgreens is in violation, or whomever. And if they don't, then they're not. Basically, it's a sting operation.
Oh, it's a sting, but they okay. So then, why would those employees? What's it for them to be selling to minors?
Why would they do it? Probably they're just not checking. They probably just say, okay, you want a bag of Reese's Cups and a pack of Newports? Fine. That's, I don't know what Newports cost anymore, but that's probably, I don't know, $13.
Yep.
I don't even know.
But it's more work, right? Back to your ID.
Sure. I mean,
it holds up the line.
It's uncomfortable too. I mean, I don't want to ask people for their IDs. I would not want to do that. But there's a law, and when you're working that particular location, you have to be aware of the law. And now Walgreens has to pay. They're in trouble because of what their employees were doing, as opposed to what they were doing.
Well, you know what? I'm just so happy to hear that you have to be 21. Now they're going to be strict. Now they're going to be have to only sell 21 years or older, which means there's going to be less smokers across the country.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They can get it somewhere else.
Are the kids getting alcohol in high school still? Because I was. And the drinking age was 21 then. As a matter of fact, what I do is I worked at a comic book store, and I would trade comic books to my friends who were over the age of 21, and they'd just bring me in one of those plastic bottles of vodka, 1.75 liters, the cheap stuff. Give it as cheap as one. And I'd give them double the value in comics because I had, credit in the store. So I would essentially pay comics for vodka, and I was pretty happy with that arrangement. So, I don't think you're stopping anybody from getting it.
So, I disagree with you, because if you make it difficult, instead of grabbing, there's plenty of 18-year-olds to grab. Now you have to grab 21-year-olds and do them favors. There's less of them that you're to get a hold of for them to buy you a pack of cigarettes. The more you make it difficult. Maybe
it'll back it off the starting age from, on average, 15 to 17. I don't know. I don't know the answer, Sarah, but, I don't celebrate it, but at the same time, smoking's bad. Thanks for the call. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Tent approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Angie.
855-450-3733. That's 855-450. Free as in freedom. Talking about this article where the government's going through and taking people's tax returns if their student loans aren't paid up. And normally I wouldn't feel too bad for people that, weren't paying their loans. But when it's these student loans, I really feel like it's a terrible idea to tell young people, well, you're not smart enough to make the decision as to whether or not to drink for another 3 years, but you can go ahead and sign up for this $100,000 loan that we're going to give you. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And then
and you don't even have a job when you sign up for it to pay it back.
Right. There's not even a job placement program.
No.
Right. There's no guarantee that if you take, artistic basket weaving, then that you're going to be placed in a career that's going to pay something. It would make some sense. For one thing, what this is the socialization of education costs. Companies should be paying people's education if they want those people educated in a certain fashion. If Boeing wants aeronautical engineers, then they should be sending people to RIT for that. That's their problem, not our problem. And it's not a system that's particularly working out to my mind. But a system that does work well is AnyPay. If you operate a retail business and you're looking for a solution for taking cryptocurrency, maybe you'd like to get one of those news stories that talks about from your town that says, hey, Angie's Car Wash is taking cryptocurrency. Well, that'd be good, right? Well, go to helpmetakebitcoin.com. I was just there today at helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it is so simple to set up. They walk you through. They've got a video. It's not even a long video to help you with everything. Helpmetakebitcoin.com. And you can have all the benefits of taking cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Zcash, and many more. Just go to helpmetakebitcoin.com. Let's go to Matthew calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Angie. College is one of the biggest rackets going. They basically tell you that you're not going to amount to anything until you get that piece of paper, at least a bachelor's degree. You forget the associate's degree stuff. That's right. You got to get that bachelor's degree. A doctorate is preferable. Master's,
Yeah.
So you do all of that, and it could be in something totally worthless, but you find yourself working inside a shop, doing manual labor, but an opening is opened up at the top. And then if you have that degree, you will get the supervisory position over somebody who has more experience, but does not have the piece of paper, simply because you have the degree. And the people who make those decisions, they have degrees.
They do like degrees, yes. And I suspect that might be if you're working in some big company where this matters, but in a smaller company where the boss who owns the place gets to see everybody, I don't think the degree is going to matter too much there, because it's going to be like, oh, all right, who's competent and who's not? And there's lots of incompetent boobs that have degrees. As the government got more and more involved in high school, the diploma became worth less and less. I think that's probably just going to continue to happen with the bachelor's degree too. Is that at some point it's basically going to be useless.
The associate is useless now.
Yeah, basically an associate is just you didn't finish school.
That's it.
Right, you started and didn't finish. It's probably worse than never.
Are you
having
going
taken
back?
It. Right.
Well, the thing is I would agree with you. Certainly, this is an absolute rule at any really large corporation, but I've seen this happen at businesses that have like 38 people.
Okay.
So I'm like, wow, how about that?
Yeah.
So your ability to advance in life is now completely dependent on your ability to sit in a classroom, understand the material, regurgitate it on a test, and not make waves.
My experience in community college when I went, and this is one of this what I'm going to tell you right now is one of the reasons I didn't go back, is I took their like an introduction to business course because, well, what else would you take? It was summertime and I had just started, I think, in summer 2 or something, and I took the class. I know what I got on those tests. I know how much time and energy I put into this, and I know that I got a C. I know it. I can do rudimentary math and average. I know what my grade was. That lady graded everything on a curve and gave me an A. Because
well, they were a lot nicer than when I went to college. I got graded on a curve and I got a B.
Well, and I realized, this is BS. Oh, this is what? Okay, so I'm supposed to sit here for 4 years and participate in BS, and I just can't do it. To me, it's a terrible business model. If I'm going to pay you, I'm going to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to pay me, you're going to tell me what to do.
Yep.
But I'm not going to pay you to tell me what to do. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, that only works for colleges and dominatrixes. All right? That's the end of it.
And the government.
Yeah, well, you don't pay the government. You're just robbed by them.
Yeah, that is definitely a popular formulation for sure. Ciao.
Thanks for the call, Matthew.
Bye.
Appreciate it. So going back to this story here where they were taking this lady's money, the borrowers in financial distress can request that the education department review and potentially return their seized tax refund. However, refunds are harder to get back than Social Security or wage offsets, said Priscus Yu, the director of Student Loan Borrower Assistance Project at the National Consumer Law Center. To do so, borrowers have to prove that they are at risk of eviction or foreclosure. Since Patterson, the woman they're talking about here, and her daughter have been homeless for months, she doesn't qualify. It's an absurdly strict standard that doesn't begin to capture the number of different ways in which borrowers are facing extreme financial hardship, Yu said. The Education Department is required to let borrowers know in advance that their tax refund will be taken, but many people never see the letter for one reason or another. This lady was homeless. How was she going to see the letter? She wasn't going to come to get her in her mailbox. You don't have to get it, Yu said. They only have to send it. The government also only needs to notify borrowers the first time their refund will be offset and not subsequent years. So once they take your money, then they just take your money.
They're going to take your money.
Right. The Education Department did not respond to CNBC's request for comment. Patterson said she never received a warning, although she also has little time to worry about that now. When they take your tax refund, there's more important getting it back, or what's more important, getting it back or proving you didn't get a letter, she said. And Patterson had been temporarily renting a room in Portland with her daughter when the bad news from the government arrived. Without more than $3,000 cash infusion, she said she can't afford to continue to stay there. They had to leave. We had to leave, and we had nowhere to live. They're currently staying at a friend of a friend's apartment for free until the end of the month, but she said her daughter hasn't been able to attend school for many days after what they've gone through. She's traumatized. The government doesn't always appreciate the significant role tax refunds and credits play for financially vulnerable Americans, Yu said. In conversations I've had with officials at the Department of Education, they view these tax refunds as bonus money. And that's how people should view them, but they don't. And, it's in many cases, it's your money. that you're getting back. In some cases, it's sort of a bonus that you get for filing returns, but whatever. It's really tough. Tax credits and refunds are now low-income folks' vital funds for survival, according to them. So if you've got any thoughts on the government taking people's tax refunds, love to hear them. 855-450-3733. 855-450, free as in freedom.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. And the IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. We were talking about an article here from CNBC about Apparently, the government's coming and taking people's tax returns to pay off student loans, and that number is getting higher and higher. Just commenting on how student loans have basically become a form of, tax serfdom, and it's enslaving a generation as far as I'm concerned. Mark with you?
And Angie.
The number's 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE if you have anything to say about, the government taking people's money in general or student loans and college in general. Certainly welcome to do that. If you go to amp.freetalklive.com, you can amp Free Talk Live, where you will hear, you will have the opportunity to help us spread the message that we uniquely spread. The idea of freedom and, I guess to some extent, keeping kids from signing up for huge loans at college. If you know what you want to do, I think college is a good idea. But they don't want that from you. They just want to send you off to college when you don't know nothing.
Yep.
And that sounds like community college, if anything, to me. That sounds like an opportunity to take a bye year and go get a job.
Yeah, but at 18 years old, do you really know what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Some people do, but not very many.
What have you experienced?
Not much. Not much at all. But you can do as Farmer Garrick Harvest and Blooms Farm has done, and sign up for the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com and help us spread the word. Thank you, Farmer Garrick. amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Greg calling in from New York. Greg, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, I was thinking about the alternatives. We talk about how we want to eliminate government, how we want to disrupt government, but I feel like a lot of the time it's like talking to people to give up meat and become vegetarians.
Well, for me, I wouldn't use the term government. Yeah. I wouldn't want to give up government because I think humans need it. But it's the form that government's taken for 9,000 years that bothers me. And I agree with you. Once that word is uttered, that it kind of screws things up. It's one of the reasons I like to point out that government isn't a thing. It's just a group of people. And people are fallible and a mess. But please, go on.
Exactly. No, but just that institution, I feel like it encompasses so many things that we've slowly been making alternatives to it. And just like the Impossible Burger, once the alternative exists, right, with those, I think there's a few companies making those vegetable-based burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, people switch over. It's like if the burger's good enough, if the alternative's good enough, then suddenly people do become vegetarian if they can have the same experience with the vegetable burger.
Yeah, I'd be willing to try it. I haven't tried one yet, but I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah, I actually tried it. I went to Fridays and I had one, and it was pretty good. It was okay.
Okay.
It's not exactly the real thing yet. It's my goal to become a vegetarian eventually, but
it's worth a try.
Just an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is,
and a good example.
Yeah. So that's the point. The point is that besides telling people that they should move away from government, I think there should be real alternatives. So, for example, the post office was a government agency, and Lysander Spooner was really upset about it. But then people invented email, and now hardly anybody uses the post office for most things. Right?
I had a friend, a next door neighbor, who near my house, who took down my address so that he could send me a letter if he needed to. He's 82.
There you go. So in the past, I think we needed government and public works, like, for example, the Roman aqueducts and the public bathhouses, to bring water to the public bathhouse, because we didn't have enough science and technology and resources to make everybody have their own water come to their own house,
Right.
But today, we do. So I think gradually, I'm a believer that technology will simply displace a lot of government functions. And, and it's not just the state, also Facebook and Google and these other big corporations that have built their own big, social networks. Like Facebook just got fined $5 billion. It's probably going to be fined.
Yeah, it's going to brush that off like nothing.
What'd they get fined for?
Yeah. Oh, the usual things like stealing people's contacts from their email after promising not to.
Okay.
And other things like that. Yeah. So my point is, though, that people will continue to use these things, and they will continue to use the state's services until there are alternatives that are good enough with open source software or some kind of technology like a desktop printer or a 3D printer for guns, or I don't know, whatever. They'll use that until there's a better alternative. And I think people need to build the better alternative like they did with Bitcoin. And that is the only way that people will ever switch over to,
right. Complaining is only worth so much. It lets people know, to some extent, what they want. It helps people determine what they want. But complaining doesn't build anything. Sooner or later, somebody needs to build something. Because the government isn't, governments just don't hand out freedom. That's not their business model. They do the opposite.
Exactly right.
So what are these alternatives to these centralized social networks that you're talking about? I mean, are you thinking specifically about Facebook and Google, and you're looking at creating things that are different than this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm working on some things myself.
I know you've been working on stuff like that. You've talked about, you've teased it throughout the years, and I'm interested in finding out more about this stuff as time goes by. Do you have a product that's rolled out?
Yes, we do. It's called the Cubix platform. It's my company's platform. It's sort of like WordPress for blogs, except instead of blogs, you could have your own apps and your own websites. So the idea is, again, that if you just make a website, no one's really going to use it for social networking. You really need to make something that's good enough that competes with Facebook and Google in order to be able to be independent of those platforms. So, yeah,
there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work in getting something like this to be good enough, because Google and Facebook, these people have huge teams of engineers just working on one little aspect of what it is that they do.
And they're very user-friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can use it. Your 82-year-old neighbor could probably find
and probably has a Facebook account, so they can go on and see his probably 60-year-old son and daughters, pictures of their kids and stuff. They want to see the whole thing. And that's really what families use it for. And it's really good for that.
Yep.
A lot of people use it as platforms to discuss their political ideas. I think it's terrible for that. I think it's just a way
to promote personal businesses.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
just
you're
leads
absolutely
to
right.
Problems.
It took me 7 years from the moment I started this, until now. I've been working on it. I think I finally got it, and with a team. I'm not doing this by myself. But of course, I don't have any of the resources of Facebook. So, But at the end of the day, if you look at WordPress, it powers 30% of all websites in the world. And who is not powering them is Blogger.com and all these centralized platforms that could have powered them if WordPress didn't exist. So once it gets good enough, I think people start adding all kinds of plugins. And the other thing is, with open source, you could have an ecosystem of tons of WordPress plugins. So a small team could build the core thing, and then you get this ecosystem of like thousands of people, each contributing just a small bug fix or a small thing. And I think that's really, collaboration is really a powerful way to build this kind of stuff.
Greg, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. What was the name of it so people can go check it out?
Oh, it's Cubix.com. Qbix, 4 letters.
Thank you.
.com.
Appreciate it, Craig. Cubix.com.
Absolutely.
855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. As in freedom. Going on with this article from CNBC, they've got other stories here. This Akalia McCandy, a single mother of 3 in St. Louis, learned earlier this year that her tax refund would be seized by the government for her student loans. Thanks to her child and earned income tax credits, she was expecting more than $8,000. With that money, she planned to pay off her car, replace her children's old mattresses, and send them to summer camp. I definitely needed it, said McCandy, 32. She has around $18,000 in student loans. Not even that much.
No.
She reached out to Stanley Tate, a student loan lawyer, for help. Tate explained that she was unlikely to get the government to return her refund, since she was not at risk of foreclosure or eviction. Desperate to get a refund, McKinley filed for bankruptcy since the process temporarily suspends Treasury Department offsets. She received her refund after a month. It felt good, she said, although she's aware of the consequences. When you file bankruptcy, it's on your credit for 7 years. It's tough. This whole situation's tough. They tell you you need this education, and then they come after you. Free Talk Live.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits at MyPatriotSupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at MyPatriotSupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,271, silver at $14.82, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,403. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, from the Sackler family, who has made billions from selling opioids to the masses, to the doctors arrested for pushing their pills on unwilling Americans, lawsuits and charges in the opioid crisis abound. However, the companies responsible for distribution of the drugs have largely gone unscathed until now. The Free Thought Project reports that in a first in the government's battle against the opioid crisis, the former CEO of one of the largest opioid distribution companies in the country, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and the company itself have been criminally charged with conspiracy. According to federal prosecutors, Rochester Drug Cooperative was charged Tuesday with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The former CEO of the company, Lawrence Dowd III, was charged with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged Rochester Drug Cooperative with knowingly and intentionally violating federal narcotics laws by distributing dangerous, highly addictive opioids to pharmacy customers that it knew were being sold and used illicitly. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. 7 Navy SEALs were warned that reporting the alleged war crimes of their teammates and calling for a formal investigation could jeopardize their careers, a Navy criminal investigation report revealed. Chief Special Warfare Operator Edward Eddie Gallagher has been accused of killing an unarmed ISIS fighter with a hunting knife and firing on civilians with a sniper rifle while deployed in Iraq, as well as obstructing justice by attempting to intimidate his fellow SEALs. He allegedly threatened to kill teammates that spoke to authorities about his alleged actions. Gallagher was arrested in September 2018, following allegations of intimidating witnesses and obstruction of justice. He was officially charged in January with premeditated murder, among other crimes. His direct superior is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for Valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Coming up a little later, the 10 best careers for someone at your level of attractiveness.
Oh, but right now we have something truly incredible for you. Kenneth Quinn is a real-life psychic medium who claims that he can communicate with dead acquaintances. He's written a new book. It's called Small Talk from Beyond, Speaking with Distant Relatives and Friends of Friends Who Have Passed.
Hi,
Good
Kenneth.
to see you. Now,
Thank
Kenneth,
you.
you've written that you're able to connect people with the spirits of their old college professors or roommates that they didn't really know that well. When did you realize that you had this gift?
Well, it was the day after my cousin's friend's wife's funeral. I was at home and I suddenly felt a presence in the room with me. And I heard a voice say, "It's Vicky. Vicky Salchek, Dale's wife."
Wow.
We made a Tim's birthday thing a while back, and we talked about how hard it is having a cat.
Fascinating.
This has been so amazing.
This has been fabulous. Thank you, Kenneth Quinn, for being our guest. Stay with us because coming up next, we're going to show you how to lose some of that excessive weight by constantly picking at your skin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do on Free Talk Live. We try to make it easy for you to get your message out. It's Mark with you.
And Angie.
Angie, you brought in a piece of show prep that I was interested in. Apparently, there's a police department, and this police department happens to be in the free state of New Hampshire.
It does.
That is, well, they got a drone program. Now, these things have been going on around the United States, and I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. Civilians are using drones for all kinds of things, and
Yep.
now police are using them too. So what's the story? Where's it from?
It is from CBS in Boston.
Okay.
It says New Hampshire Police Department launching drone program. The Portsmouth Police Department is launching a drone program. Lieutenant Christian Cummings told the Police Commission on Tuesday that a drone provides an eye in the sky where we wouldn't normally have one.
That can be useful in, say, crowd control circumstances. Maybe if there's, I don't know, if they happen to be somewhere near a bank robbery or something.
But it's in Portsmouth. How dangerous can it be there?
There's not a lot of crowd control situations in Portsmouth, no. But they want them anyway. And they've got a huge tax base in Portsmouth. So the cops have to have things to spend their money on.
Oh, they have lots of money.
Yeah. And I'll bet you these drones aren't the $300 jobbies that you all get at the store there, the toy store or whatever, the hobby shop.
Not even close.
No.
The article says that the reports that Cummings detective Eric Windstorm and Officer James Nuri said the program will start with $69,638 of a Homeland Security grant.
That's a good chunk of change. All right. Of course, this is what they love. They love themselves a good grant, and they have grant writers to do these things.
Says Cummings said the team plans to purchase a drone with 2 cameras, one for surveillance and another with infrared technology for searches. Cummings said the drones will help members of the Seacoast Emergency Response Team deployed to high-risk emergencies. He said drones can also be used in searches to map crime scenes.
Okay, I suppose all of those things make a certain amount of sense. I imagine, as you said, that Portsmouth there's probably not a lot of big crimes that are going sort of unsolved that drones are going to fix. How many solutions per year do we expect to get out of this? And I would say the answer is very, very few, vanishingly few.
Yeah, but for $70,000, what kind of drone are they going to purchase for that much money? Do they need that much money for a drone?
It's going to be a really nice drone. And this is how it goes, right? Like the police needed cameras on their chests now, and what's it cost to get a camera? You can go get, for $100, you can get a pair of glasses that'll, have a cam on it
and
or
a microphone.
Whatever. Yeah, you think of that as the price tag? No, each one of these outfits is 5 figures for these guys.
For each officer?
Oh yeah, and that's because it has to broadcast or whatever.
But then they turn them off, and you don't even get the feed from them.
Well, they have to have privacy.
Of course, because you don't want to know what they're doing.
Right. So some of them actually will broadcast 30 seconds before and 30 seconds after they turned off or something. That's how they caught one cop, which was kind of an interesting story. He was planting drugs on a scene, and whoops, got him.
Now, do the cops know that I guess they do now, that they know that they broadcast 30 seconds before and after?
I think that he knew, he just forgot.
He didn't watch his watch and count down the 30 seconds. Oh, it's time.
Right. He just didn't pay attention. He thought he turned it off and whatever.
Yep.
He didn't think it was going to be seen. And, anyway, it just happens that way. So, I like.
That's really all it says.
Yeah. So lay them on me again. What are these list of things that they're hoping to accomplish?
They're hoping to help with searches and for infrared technology.
Right. So if a kid's lost in the woods,
they're going to look for him.
Maybe, especially if it has infrared, then it gets a lot easier to find them. Then you got a huddled little thing there, and chase off the badgers and the foxes, and pretty soon you find the kid. And it could be useful for that. I mean, I can imagine that the community and especially the parents are going to be pretty grateful for that stuff being on site. Doesn't really sound like a cop thing. Sounds like a firefighter thing. But regardless.
Are missing children a huge thing in Portsmouth? Pretty safe area, right?
In New Hampshire, kids will wander off.
Okay.
But Portsmouth isn't one of those places. There's not a lot of woods in Portsmouth. Yeah. It's a metro. But they probably could loan it to one of the surrounding towns that has more of that. So, all right. So searches, infrared searches. I got you.
That's all it said. It said for infrared searches and surveillance.
Okay, surveillance. Yeah, I suppose they could be.
And they're going to watch their citizens closer?
Yeah, they're going to do that. That's no doubt, right? They've got some kind of drug bust situation that they're hoping to do. They're watching a house. They're going to send the drone up to keep an eye. It's going to be kind of quiet up there, and it can look and see who's going in and out the back door.
The eye in the sky.
Right, it's going to be all that. So it's very Big Brother in that way, no doubt about it. And Jay joining us here. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Hello.
And we're talking about apparently Portsmouth, New Hampshire has decided that it In order to better serve its customers, its citizens, it is now employing a force of drones that aren't cheap. Angie, what do they cost?
They got a grant from the Homeland Security for $70,000.
70 grand, so probably one would be my guess.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the government-approved contractor that is supplying said drone, contributes handsomely to the local Portsmouth bureaucrats.
It would be difficult to know who or why, but I think this is just another toy for them.
Absolutely.
But this has got an infrared camera on it. I don't have any idea what it would be like. This isn't some $300 drone you get at the hobbyist store, but it looks very hefty, the picture of it that I'm looking at here, because it's able to lift quite a sizable camera with it, so it looks pretty.
Maybe my brother will call in and explain this to us. He lives and breathes for drones now.
He races them, right?
He's a professional drone racer. He's been going to Ohio and Florida.
Professional.
Literally. He's like on ESPN stuff. He's one of the top guys.
Do they? Does he make enough money doing it to live?
No.
Okay. That's why I'm air quoting.
Yeah. Well, I don't think really anybody is yet.
No, I can't.
He's definitely has sponsors. He gets his plane tickets paid for. He's getting hotels paid for. He hasn't got, the plane tickets paid for to fly his wife and kids out with him, and, accommodations for his wife and kids to go to Florida and Hawaii and, places. But and he actually does one of the biggest drone meets in the Northeast in Steventown, New York, every year. Him and a couple of his, our family refers to him and his drone nerd friends. They got this huge thing where it's actually, they've been selling out of tickets every year, and they've been expanding it as much as they, financially can, because that's if he had a $50,000 to throw at it, he could, invite a lot more people. But, these guys are just taking their own pocket cash and literally, putting it into putting on a festival for drone, and they have drone racing competitions, and they have vendors, and they get food trucks there. And, it's kind of like, Pork Fest for, or Fork Fest for people,
drone nerds.
For drone nerds. Yeah. Or, so yeah, they those guys tell you all about this stuff.
I'm amazed at how these things they have the races with them, and they fly in and out of barricades.
So horse pasture fencing, where you have 6-inch tall rails, and between the rails you have
18 inches maybe.
No, about 10 inches are rails at the barn we grew up on.
All right,
and so you have about almost 3 feet worth of actual fencing, but the first one is 22 or 30 inches off the ground. And there's 10-inch spacings between them. 7-8 years ago, he was flying drones through those, at 45, 50 miles an hour, just by looking through his goggles and off the GoPro camera off the front of them. And he trashed a lot of drones.
That was my next question. How many did he go through?
They destroyed them, but these things are all made out of styrofoam. And the wings cost $4 a side. The center sections are what's expensive is the motors, and the controllers. The props they're destroying props all the time. You clip a tree and you clip the guy you're racing against.
Yeah, I imagine they get rather close.
But this drone can be taken down. There's technology to take any drone down.
What's that technology like?
You just jam the signal to them.
855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. There's probably going to be cop drones falling out of the sky once people figure that out. Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BitCot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever you want. We were just talking about a police department in New Hampshire apparently getting a drone, and I guess this isn't particularly new news. Lots of police departments are getting these things. One wonders what they're going to use them for.
Concord has one. Last year they had it out at the 420 thing, and we thought it was a private drone.
Oh, yeah?
And I had sent some pictures to my brother, and there's actually an FCC number on them.
Oh, yeah?
That you're technically, if you're engaged in commercial activity, it says, like you're using them for hire.
Then you have to have the FCC license.
Register them and all that stuff. Right. And he said it came back to Concord.
PD?
Actually, no, it was the county.
Okay.
It was owned by the county. So
yeah,
he told me it was a cop one. That's what he said.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your brother and drones, he's going to be running a drone class of some sort at Fork Fest this year. Fork Fest is a camping festival that we're going to be at, and it's going to be a lot of fun, June 13th through the 18th in the White Mountains of New Hampshire at Rogers Campground, where it's been up to this point, and there's another camping festival there that should be pretty exciting. But, yeah, we'd love to see you out there. Just go to the website, forkfest.party, June 13th through the 18th in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, forkfest.party. Tell us about what this event that your brother's having.
Well, so I told him, I says, hey, I'm doing this man camp thing, and we're teaching people stuff, and we're teaching, people like real life working skills, and, and a lot of the regular listeners are already familiar with my man camp stuff that I'm working on. And so when I was actually talking to Josh today, I was like, "Hey, you gonna bring some drones up to up to Rogers Campground this year for Fork Fest and Pork Fest?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." And I says, "Well, you really people are always asking about drones, and people are always talking to you about drones. So why don't you do an explanation on drones? Why don't you do a demonstration? Why don't you tell the people about the technology? Why don't you educate people on them and tell them he's like, oh, I'm not letting anybody fly any of my drones unless they've done the
class.
Not the class.
Okay.
I mean, you don't just get sort of a flight simulator. You hook an actual one of these remote controls that you control your drone with, and you basically hook it into your computer, and then you fly a simulator, and it simulates a bunch of things. And basically, as far as Josh is concerned, if you can fly whichever simulator he likes, I don't know, there's all there's a whole bunch of them, but if you can fly a certain simulation, he'll let you fly his drone. So, like, for example, guys like, there's a whole bunch of people that have been going to this festival for years to fly drones and understand them. He'll let, and those guys kind of get together and chat and talk about them and stuff. So he's going to kind of have maybe an educational roundtable discussion. It's looking like we haven't got all the details, but it's going to be part of the festivities up there.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh yes.
So, you know how that's daylight savings time is one of the things that we talk about. It's always coming up in the news, and I feel like there's this momentum for doing away with daylight savings time coming up. Free Talk Live's been talking about it for railing at the government for their control of time, but and I'll admit there are some advantages to daylight savings time, but the disadvantages seem to outweigh it, and it looks like Idaho. So I always look for daylight savings news. I don't know why, but it interests me. I'd love to see it gotten rid of. And
I like calling it daylight shifting time. It just really makes more sense. Every time Daryl says that, I'm like, that's just perfect. You know?
Shifting time is better. Going here from Boise at the IdahoPress.com. I don't even think they have an author. They don't have a byline on this one. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. Savannah Cardon. I don't think it gives her email address. It says, changing clocks twice a year to account for daylight shifting, poses health risks among other problems for Idahoans. And everybody else, said Rep. Christy Zito, whose bill to eliminate daylight saving time statewide advanced in the House on Tuesday. After no debate in the Senate State Affairs Committee, Zito's bill was sent to the House floor with a do-pass recommendation. It would exempt Idaho from daylight shifting time changes, leaving the entire state in standard time year-round. Representative Book Green, Democrat Boise, cast the one vote against the change. With daylight shifting, Idahoans move their clocks forward in 1 hour from March to November. Every time the time changes, it causes issues with businesses, crime increase. Farmers and ranchers supposedly have to shift their schedules, Zito said. Zito, by the way, is a Republican from Hammett, wherever that is. The periodic time change can lead to seasonal affective disorder and depression, she said, creating problems for people who are pregnant or suffer from cluster headaches. My biggest urgent argument in favor of it is there are health issues, says Zito. By the way, it's also difficult on kids going to school and stuff like that. It's hard. And they do see heart attacks go up surrounding daylight savings time. So shifting time.
Even the LRN.FM feed is affected by it because Ernie Hancock starts his show at 6 a.m. In Phoenix, and Arizona doesn't participate.
Doesn't shift.
Yeah, it doesn't shift. So the LRN feed, so the Ernie show, during the wintertime starts at 8 a.m. and then
Eastern,
and now it's at 9 a.m. Eastern, unless things have changed. But that's I remember when I was out in Colorado all the time. I'd be like, oh, how come Ernie's show's not on? Because I'd listen to it every morning out there while I was working and
confused as to the time it starts. And it is confusing. Another thing is that people write EST, right? Like just to tell you what the time zone is. Well, most people don't know when they're in standard time and when they're in daylight time. So I just say Eastern. I just write out the term Eastern rather than saying, what trying to explain to people what EDT means, Eastern Daylight Time. And the Eastern time zone spends more time in the Atlantic time zone, one time zone shifted ahead, than it does in its own. Daylight shifting time shifts you one time zone forward effectively. So your Eastern time zone spends, the states in Eastern time zone spend more time in the Atlantic time zone than they do in the Eastern time zone, but everybody just calls it Eastern because, wow, New York and Washington are here. It's a confusing mess.
I remember screwing around with a GPS I had years ago, and the GPS, you had to set it for either Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Standard Time or Atlantic something or whatever, and I can remember like driving back and forth like Colorado to New England for years. That GPS was like, it never just gets a time, like it was always like an hour ahead,
Yeah, it was just never had the time.
And it was just like I'm like, well, what the hell is the difference? And I just never really cared to put enough thought into it or effort into it to like really mess around with it. But I remember it was always just a little annoying.
What's the actual reason for daylight savings time?
Well, you'll get a variety of them, and at this point, none of them are true.
Okay.
So
I can tell you what the farmers all say.
Well, they say it's about harvest, but never was.
No, the farmers I dealt with say it's so rich city folk can get a little extra hour of golf time. That's what they say it's for.
So in the morning?
I don't know. Just that's what they want, extra hour of golf.
Yeah.
So is it supposed to get dark later or earlier? Which one's right?
It gets dark.
Which one would be standard?
I always get so confused. Let me look it up for you.
Okay.
It's to confuse us.
855-450-3733. 855-450. Free as in freedom here on Free Talk Live.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective. Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, then I don't care if it's daylight or savings. Whatever Eastern Time is, wherever it is. I don't think there's any states in the United States that choose not to participate in Eastern daylight shifting time. So it's safe to say anytime it's Eastern Time. I don't know about the Canadian provinces or the Caribbean states or anything like that, so you'll have to figure that out on your own. But 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, you can call us, and we'll be on the air. Doesn't matter if it was Easter recently, and we were doing a show, so, we'll be here. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It is Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
FreedomsPhoenix.com is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site, meaning they collect news stories. And if you want the newest and freshest stories and a perspective on current events from those who value liberty, FreedomsPhoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch, which I get, and actually it comes in sometimes twice a day because, they want to make sure you get all the good stories. It's the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Speaking of science news, they found out where the people who built Stonehenge came from and how they got there. So you're not going to find that news on too many news aggregation sites out there. I find that stuff to be fascinating. It's all at Phoenix.com. It's run by nerdy folks, as nerdy as I am. Phoenix.com. I recommend them highly.
If I could throw out a little more about the Freedoms Phoenix aggregate there. So this morning on Ernie's Declare Your Independence show, they were talking about housing.
That's the guy who runs it, Ernest Hancock.
Ernest Hancock, and he does a morning show that broadcasts on LRN from 9 to 12 Eastern Time.
LRN.FM.
Yes, and so I listen to pretty much every day. But this morning they were talking about housing. And the guest that was on says, have you seen the headlines lately about, the McMansion prices are going down in this place, California, and this place here, and the default in the car loans is at X amount of money, and the default in the student loans is 1.6 something trillion. The default in home loans in California and home loans in this place and that place, and they were just rant about those. And Ernie goes, why don't you just put in housing in the search on Freedom's Phoenix and see what pops up. So because it's news articles. So what all these news articles, when you go into housing and the search, it has all the housing ones and it chronically goes back. So they started going back, and so there's a whole bunch of recent ones in there. And then there's a couple from little things here and there, and then you get back to 2008 and bam, all the same articles about basically the same stuff that's coming out in media today. Is a whole 2008, 2007 cycle, and they were going through them this morning. It was pretty interesting when I was listening to it. They were going through all the headlines from 2007 and 2008, and the guy, I forget the guy he had on this morning, but they're and there's these other ones in New York Times this, and he's like, what's the New York Times just reprinting the same articles from a decade ago? It's basically was really the only difference in the article.
There are some similarities in real estate news right now as there were in, say, the end of 2005, beginning of 2006. I don't know that everything in the marketplace looks the same, but I'm not recommending that people buy necessarily. So let's talk about real estate for a second. I think this is worth talking about. We almost never touch on it here on Free Talk Live. Libertarians like to own their land.
Mm-hmm.
People like to own their land. Americans have been sold this bill of goods on owning our land. And I'm not saying there aren't advantages. If you have a giant dog like you, Angie, it might be a good idea to own your own property because landlords hate.
But they don't mind her because she's not an aggressive breed.
Okay, different landlords feel differently. But, if you want to have your own garden, if you want to have a big dog, there's some reasons to own your own home.
Yeah.
But if you do the math, most of the time, owning your own home doesn't make sense financially until you've been in it for 7 years. And most Americans move about every 7 years. So, more or less, just as it's beginning to make some sense, you lose out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find a good renting situation, now when you're renting, you're at people's beck and call to some extent. If they decide they're going to sell the house, then what are you going to move? You got to move. Yep. It's time to pick up.
30 days.
Yeah, right. Hopefully you got 60 if the contract is put up that way, but more or less that's how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
You're at their pleasure as opposed to your own. And so I my opinion has shifted over time on this topic. I used to be a big advocate of home ownership, and I don't think I am anymore. I think that in many cases it makes sense to leave all the little things that break to somebody else.
It certainly does for certain people.
Yeah.
There are people, like, for example, the home I bought, there a lot of people look at it and are like, wow, I wouldn't even take this on. They're just not even interested.
Just a lot of repairs.
Yeah, a lot of repairs. A lot of places that hasn't been maintained in a while.
So presumably you got it at a pretty good price.
I did. I got it for a good price. And
that's one person that can really benefit is a person who is willing and able
to
do a lot of repairs on their own and can put sweat equity into the house. Oftentimes you still won't be compensated at your normal rate, but nonetheless it can work for you.
Yeah, like my buddy's a roofing contractor.
Yeah.
And I was telling him all about the property. And when I was buying it, and I go, what would you do for an estimate? He goes, it would be at least $100,000. And he goes, and honestly, he says, I would probably say like 150 just so I wouldn't get the job. And he goes,
right.
I get because there's a lot of good low hanging fruit out there in the roofing business. No need to. It's just like the auto body guys want to work on collisions. They don't want to work on rust. For example, my place was like a rust case. If it was,
it's just hard to do
in the car world. But you were talking about renting. Max Kaiser's show I listened to quite a bit.
Okay.
And
he was an early adopter in cryptocurrency.
Yep, he's always talking about crypto. And Blackwater Property Management is one of the world's largest owner of rentals.
Okay.
So he's talking about how Blackwater gets all this free money from the ECB, European Central Bank, 0 or 0.001% interest money. And then they go when there's housing meltdowns, and they go buy up all these apartments. So, like, for example, they own in Dublin, Ireland, they are the largest owner of apartments. They own 3,000 units in Dublin.
Pretty impressive.
They are the largest owner of rentals in everywhere in Europe, almost all the major cities. And what they've done is...
It's smart, right? Like you wait until the housing market crashes and then you go in, you get it at pennies on the dollar or, dimes on the dollar at the very least.
Right.
And you then, when the market comes back, and it always does because people still need to live places, then you're in pretty good shape.
And it's a private equity firm, essentially, is what they are. It's just a part, and they get this money from European Central Bank, for example, at nothing. And like the average guy, the average European or Irish guy or Scottish guy, he can't get an interest rate to go buy a dozen apartment buildings or a dozen units for 0.00 something percent. And these major private equity firms do, and they literally buy up major city blocks. And as Max Kaiser puts it, that the banks help destroy these neighborhoods. They were talking about how in 2008 here in the United States, a lot of the African American neighborhoods and around the major cities got decimated, and their property values went down, and a lot of these private equity firms just went and bought up everything and just jacked the rent right up. And this is what they're actually suing the United Nations or the World Trade Organization, or one of those organizations they were talking about, has actually saying that Blackwater, the property management company, is literally a predator. They're very aggressive about evictions, and they're just jacking the rates up because they have monopolized the rental marketplace because they own so much of it. And there's all these other companies own big blocks of it too. There's very few like mom and pop rental operations, I guess, in
Let's
Europe.
talk about evictions, because as a landlord at times, I guess I think I can safely call myself a landlord. I have one unit, and I've had this situation that I've had to deal with. 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Is it predatory to kick people out of their houses? Free Talk Live.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you'll need a plan and place to survive. Forget bunkers. You're not a live underground gopher. You need survivalist camps, the ultimate fully functional, off-the-grid mobile survival bug-out house that's well-equipped and custom-built to outlast any other RV or trailer. Bold statement? You bet. See them now at survivalistcamps.com. That's survivalistcamps.com. Trust your family's survival to survivalistcamps.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in and talk about whatever you want, but we're talking about sort of renting versus buying and sort of some of the ethics of being a landlord, that kind of thing. You're welcome to call in and talk about that. The number is 855-450-3733. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever you want. That's what we do on Free Talk Live. Looks like we got somebody on the call-in lines, too. If you go to discord.freetalklive.com, you can download the app and sound great. Want to tell you about the AMP program. If you go to amp.freetalklive.com, you can support our unique form of programming here on Free Talk Live. There's nothing like us on the air. You can't just call in, talk about whatever you want on national radio, but you can on Free Talk Live. We also...
Sarah will attest to that. She gets kicked off of shows.
She does. Local shows. She can get on Free Talk Live. You can do it like Venkman has, who's a platinum amplifier. We just ask people to give $5 a month at the AMP program, but Venkman has gone much, much deeper in at $25 a month to become a platinum amplifier. Do all that at amp.freetalklive.com. That's AMP, amp.freetalklive.com. Jay, before we go into this whole rental thing, I want to take Wikiwea on the Discord lines. Wikiwea, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, hey there. I was just wanted to just chip in about this landlord sort of stuff that we were talking about. I think is it Jay? I think you were mentioning like how in Ireland they monopolized the market and they got some special low interest rates. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, and this is a report by on the Max Kaiser show, and they had also talked about how these large private equity firms who have bought up most of the apartment housing is also getting tremendous property tax breaks. Like they're getting they're able to make deals with the tax assessors and whatnot and get their property valued really low. So it was very low taxes is also what they were talking about, and basically the mom and pop renters, landlords really can't even compete with these guys because their overhead's so high.
Yeah, it's a very, very similar story in the UK where I live. I've spoken to lots of small-time landlords who are totally squeezed out by regulations now. There's millions of little health and safety checks that they have to pay for, environmental sort of energy efficiency stuff that they have to pay for. And also the big property developers, the massive companies, are kind of benefiting through the planning permission system, which a lot of people suspect is corrupt. It's a total disaster. It's just like one of the other kind of ways, like one of the few sort of last remaining ways to make money kind of fairly without using the state to cheat, and that's kind of being eroded away. I think.
It used to be one of the ways that couples would retire is they'd take their retirement, they'd move to someplace warm, and they'd buy themselves, a duplex, a fourplex, or something like that, and they'd rent it. They'd have their own spot, and they'd rent out the rest. I don't know what terminology you guys use over there, Wikiwea, but probably four flat or something, some terminology like that. And they would, they'd rent to people, they'd take care of the property, but more or less that was their work. Mm-hmm. And they, they probably didn't spend that much time on it when you aggregate the whole month out. Obviously you got to be there for when the water springs a leak or something like that. And that used to be a system. But it sounds like if these big companies are getting in and finding systems for cutting overhead, specifically regulation and taxes, then, well, that's it. It just shows one of the many ways that the state is employed to, profit the rich and well-connected.
It's the same thing that's happened in the poultry industry, where literally Purdue Corporation out of Georgia had introduced and lobbied all the legislature in the United States for all this heavy poultry regulation. and all these other heavy-duty slaughterhouse regulations having to do with, all kinds of other food processing. Because my father and in 1960 something, when they moved to Palmer, Massachusetts, there was literally 20 different butcheries in the villages of Palmer, and you could literally take your chickens, drop them off to the Polish butcher, then the Italian butcher, the Irish butcher, and get 3 different types of or your pork or
whatever
your
the preference
cow,
was,
whatever you wanted. There was several to choose from, and it was literally the regulation that killed that was written by Purdue, and now we know that pretty much all the poultry consumed in this country or produced in this country is all produced on these mega there are millions of chickens they're raising at a time. And actually, in this Max Kaiser report 1374,
let me get a comment here from Wikipedia first.
On what he was just saying, no, I mean that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I wouldn't know how to compare to the UK because I don't know about the poultry.
So how do these boards make it easier for big businesses to buy houses and rent them? Because renting and buying houses, they still need people to do it. These people are just employees, and employees now with salaries and pensions and benefits and all that other stuff. It would seem like it would be difficult for a big company to compete in the area of real estate. But if they're managing to duck regulations, how are they doing that?
Well, I don't know how precisely, but I presume it's largely to do with being politically connected. There was on it in the UK about how a lot of these buildings are sort of brand new buildings being built right now, and a lot of them don't meet sort of the minimum standards and things. And okay, you might not be in favor of these regulations existing, but the fact is the little guys wouldn't get away with not following them.
Right.
I don't know exactly how. I don't know the mechanics of it, but
I know how
presume
it happens.
Because
it happens here in this country too.
Yeah.
I mean, you just make it comfortable for the building inspector. If you're a land developer, there was a land developer in Palmer, Massachusetts, and he developed a bunch of land, built a bunch of houses, lots of issues.
Wikipedia, thanks for the call.
And
okay, thanks.
The former building inspector, Roulette's his name, ended up retiring because a lot of pressure started coming on these houses that he approved, a decade ago. Started literally sinking, having all kinds of issues because there's several developments that have all this issue, and they just literally the guy signed off on all these things, which upon further inspection didn't happen.
Right.
And everybody knew that the developer and the in town that they were drinking buddies, that they were pals. And
I see. So one of the things that I find sort of very interesting about all this stuff is that people say without these building inspectors and without the government being involved, then people would do shoddy work, and the standards wouldn't be met and whatever, right? Well, what evidence do you have that that's occurring now? Because monopolies tend towards poor customer service and poor accountability. Well, the building inspector's a monopoly. It's not like somebody goes in there and says, we, the building inspecting company, put our name behind this. We're licensed and bonded. And if this doesn't meet the standards that we say it meets, then you can sue us.
Yeah.
I don't know that of anybody who's ever sued a municipality because the standards weren't met on whatever their house is.
They did in Palmer.
Okay.
And guess what?
What happened?
The same thing that happened when I sued them. They said, "Oh, we have
sovereign immunity. Yep.
We have sovereign immunity. We can't be sued over this."
Yeah.
There's no there's nothing
right.
you can do.
So they jump in. They say, "We're going to provide a service." Bum, bum, bum. And then, and everybody wants the service. Certainly, when you put drywall up, you can't tell. The average person can't walk in and tell, oh, well, this electric isn't going to catch fire.
Right.
They don't know.
Nobody can tell.
They don't know whether the plumbing is in, at the standard it's supposed to be at. They don't know any of this stuff. They just want the house built right. Everybody wants that. And the expectation is that you pay all this money and jump through all these hoops for these building inspectors. Now, when I built my house, there was the building inspector came through 2 times. Walked through the one time and just sort of said, there's a frame of a building, all right. And walked through a second time and, looked and made sure that the drywall was up correctly in the garage and then gave us an occupancy permit. I mean, nothing happened. And now I'm not saying anything bad about the guy because he knew that I didn't want a lot of pressure from him.
Now imagine you were a troublemaker and the town didn't like you.
Well, they had every reason to. The building inspector liked me. The town did not.
Or to one of the building inspector's friends. Let's say the building inspector has a reason not to like you.
Yeah.
My dad threw the building inspector off our property years ago when our house burnt in the 90s when I was a teenager, and told him that he was going to have him arrested if he came back. We never saw him again.
Yeah.
There was no permits involved in that.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450. Free as in freedom. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. What are your building permit stories? Because this stuff is, it's a mess. Free Talk Live.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,271, silver at $14.82, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,403. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, from the Sackler family, who has made billions from selling opioids to the masses, to the doctors arrested for pushing their pills on unwilling Americans, lawsuits and charges in the opioid crisis abound. However, the companies responsible for distribution of the drugs have largely gone unscathed until now. The Free Thought Project reports that in a first in the government's battle against the opioid crisis, the former CEO of one of the largest opioid distribution companies in the country, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and the company itself have been criminally charged with conspiracy. According to federal prosecutors, Rochester Drug Cooperative was charged Tuesday with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The former CEO of the company, Lawrence Dowd III, was charged with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged Rochester Drug Cooperative with knowingly and intentionally violating federal narcotics laws by distributing dangerous, highly addictive opioids to pharmacy customers that it knew were being sold and used illicitly. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. 7 Navy SEALs were warned that reporting the alleged war crimes of their teammates and calling for a formal investigation could jeopardize their careers, a Navy criminal investigation report revealed. Chief Special Warfare Operator Edward Eddie Gallagher has been accused of killing an unarmed ISIS fighter with a hunting knife and firing on civilians with a sniper rifle while deployed in Iraq, as well as obstructing justice by attempting to intimidate his fellow SEALs. He allegedly threatened to kill teammates that spoke to authorities about his alleged actions. Gallagher was arrested in September 2018, following allegations of intimidating witnesses and obstruction of justice. He was officially charged in January with premeditated murder, among other crimes. His direct superior is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for Valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
You are nothing more than the reflection of a grim, pitiless world, and this is The Onion Week in Review. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on same-sex marriage this week, overjoyed gay couples in Florida rushed out of their homes to have their marriages denied to them. Homosexual couples throughout the southern state told reporters they were ecstatic over the landmark decision supporting gay rights and said they couldn't wait to wait in line and have their requests to be wed rejected by their home state. And in science news, scientists probably discovered a frog or something. They're always doing that sort of shit. In other news, an 8-year-old boy surprises his Marine father during a firefight in Afghanistan. Johnny Depp is now physically unable to walk unless whimsically teeter-tottering across a rolling log, wobbly plank, or swaying beam. And Silvio Berlusconi is transferred to a steamy, all-female penitentiary. If you're seeking a celebrity interview, stay away from that bastard Tobey Maguire, who apparently can't even pick up a phone to say he has a schedule conflict and won't be able to make it into the studio. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the radio. It is Mark with you,
Jay,
and Angie.
And, well, we've kind of got two concurrent topics going at the same time. We were talking about daylight savings time, and I guess they're looking at eliminating it in Idaho, which, not a lot of people live there, but I think that there's this building wave against daylight savings time, and I'm for that. But the topic of big businesses, specifically this one business called Blackwater, buying up houses and doing sort of rental on a larger scale.
Mostly Europe.
Yeah. Mostly rentals had been done by individuals. So maybe a corporation would own a rental development or something, but they might have 2 or 3, but they weren't done on a large scale with a company doing these, doing the whole deal. Big company. Now it's getting more and more like that. And one of the complaints is that these companies are too quick to, basically kick people out, that if they don't pay their rent, out they go. And as a former landlord, I can say I was certainly too lax in some circumstances.
Me too.
And as a result, people could smell that. Like hustlers know when you're not going to do the right. You know when you're not going to be a stalwart defender of your own investment. And you begin to ratchet down the list of most important things to pay. The number one thing to pay if you're renting should be your rent.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It should be top of the list. And if it's not, then some people, they're gonna put the power bill first. They're gonna put the other bills first, and then they're gonna be like, well, and the kids need to go to school, and the cigarette and beer budget and
cable TV.
Everything then begins
Internet.
Then begins to go above yours, and once you're in that circumstance, you're out of luck. There's no way to crawl back up the list, and I don't feel particularly bad that a company has this system of kicking renters out when they haven't paid their payments. I do feel bad that they use regulation and relationships to lower tax bills and the sort of claims that have been made here
to squeeze out competition.
To squeeze out competition, because that's not good. But if somebody's not paying their rent, well, out they should go, as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, they should go. It should go based on what the contract said when it said it, and I think that's the fairest way to do it. But it's easy to go after big companies. Oh, this heartless big company, this mother's been kicked out, and all this stuff, as they always do. But somebody. It isn't free to live places.
But they're a business. They're in that business to make money.
Yep.
And if you're not paying your rent, they're not making their money.
Right. And somebody would. And so you're keeping that space from somebody who is going to pay.
That's it.
And that's tough, I guess. But my mother and uncles owned a company that had duplexes, and I managed those duplexes. And I can tell you that, they could see me coming a mile away. I had to, as a person who was representing a company, it was easier for me. But when I was doing it on my own, it got a lot harder. And I remember one particular renter who paid his first and last and that was his last. He never paid rent after that at all.
How long did he stay there?
About 6 months, and it was hard to get him out. We had to go through the legal system, and he finally left.
And what is the law? Like, you have 30 days. You have to give them 30 days to get out?
More or less. Okay. That's how it was. And you had to post things on the door. And then once they posted on the door, if you take money from them, then you have to start the process again. So the idea is to hand you a little bit of money in order to keep things off, right? Yeah. And I didn't know all the laws. I was just trying to rent a place out. And then when he left, it was a pigsty, and I had to go through, just basically with a manure shovel, taking all the crap off the floor, then had to steam clean the floors and all this stuff. It was a nightmare. And there are landlords out there that have far worse stories than I ever had. Mostly the things weren't broken. I just had to clean a lot of stuff.
No, I knew a girl who stuffed dirty diapers in the radiators, like in the heating vents, because she got evicted. I was like, are you kidding me? She was like, oh, yeah, they evicted me, so this is what I did. I said, that's just horribly disgusting.
Right, it's terrible. And, why'd you get evicted? Because I wasn't paying the rent.
I didn't pay my rent. Right. Yeah, that's what she said.
There were some guys that got evicted of some property management operation I know of. there was two of them that were really, really bad that I did. But this one here, what had happened is the people, when they had gotten evicted, they started urinating in bottles.
Wonderful.
And they turned the heat all the way up. It was summertime. And they dumped their urine all over on all the radiators. All the carpets. And this was a three-unit house. But they weren't massive pigs. The other one I did was probably the worst one. I went over at my horse trailer, shoveled it out, filled the horse trailer up. And
this is not a 2-horse trailer.
Oh no, yeah, this is that horse trailer that you know
right.
I have.
What's a 5-horse trailer? Is that what that is?
You could put 6 in there.
All right.
It's a 18-foot.
It's
6
basically
horses.
what they call a stock trailer. It's a livestock trailer.
It's 18-foot long, 8-foot wide.
Yeah, it's a big trailer.
And this one's 8 foot tall. So I had it all loaded with trash and
it's
nasty
more or less
stuff.
a large dumpster.
Yes.
I mean, its size.
And yeah, I mean, I forget what the dump bill was. It was a couple $100 just to drop stuff at the dump. And when I had went in there, it was nasty smelling, and I got so attacked by fleas, but I had never seen. And people were literally living there in this filth. When I showed up to clean it, and I had shown up there a couple days earlier just to take the trash out because they wouldn't even take their own damn trash out, and it was just that was pretty crazy. But people do some, and they weren't vindictive because they were getting evicted. Those are just losers. But these other people were clean people. But when they were getting evicted because they didn't pay, they literally bottled their urine after they packed up the U-Haul truck. They went back in, dumped the urine all over everything, and left.
Yeah,
and did not. And they cost that homeowner tens of thousands of dollars of damage just by doing that.
Just by doing that,
literally.
And one wonders why. Why would you do this? I kind of get it with the banks when the foreclosure thing happened in 2008 and stuff. I can get the collusion with the banks and the Federal Reserve and the crashing of the economy. I can kind of see how people, their minds worked around this. I would have never done it, but whatever. I can get it. But you're doing this to a landlord who did what? Who chose to rent to you, whose biggest mistake was doing business with you.
Yep.
Right? I'm going to make you suffer because you were stupid enough to get into a contract with me, and I am a loser who doesn't pay my bills. Right? That's how I feel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are one of these people who did this is how I feel about you at this moment. Now, if you've got some good reason, please let me know. The number is 855-450-3733. I'm not saying that there's no circumstance where I would agree to this. Okay, the landlord molested your kid. All right. Okay. You win. But there's this uncalled for behavior, and the law and public sentiment tends to go towards the renter. That's the reason we have this thing called sort of fixed prices in renting. I can't remember what that rent control. It's because people,
which is ridiculous too.
Rent control is a crazy idea that the government's going to somehow control rent. It can so this particular aspect of the economy we will control. No, it never works. You can't control the economy. You can only confuse the situation. I tend, as a person who's done landlording, I tend to side with the landlords in these circumstances, but the law doesn't. And those that are out there wanting to see free college and free health care, where's their next thing? Is it going to be free housing? Well, housing just costs, the rent is too damn high.
They already have free housing.
Right. Well, they have that.
Section 8.
Yeah. Now we need Section 8 for all, just like Medicare for all. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. People are just bad at adulting sometimes. Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dinovite.com. With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dinovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells,
and the Dynavite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynavite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in. Talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
855-450-3733. It looks like I've actually had David on hold here for some time. I have, you get the B team here, sadly. He wasn't watching the phones. Let's go to the phones. I've got David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello? Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Okay. Well, good. The service around here sucks. Go ahead.
Well, I won't be tipping.
Well, there you go. What's on your mind, David?
Well, I had something else, but I want to comment on something because something you said earlier in the program. But let me slip in a comment that I've been on both sides of the renter-landlord thing, and I got screwed on both sides of it, and so I'll never rent anything again. and I'll never rent anything to anyone ever again.
Yeah, I can feel you on that one too. I do understand why people want to own property, but I think that some of the arguments for owning property are spurious, specifically around finances. If you're going to live in the same place for 7 years, then maybe it's a good idea, but a lot of people don't. Go ahead.
Right, yeah.
Well,
anyway,
how did you before you
you
go on? How did you get ripped off by the landlord? What happened there?
Well, in several different ways, but the most sour one is the difference between when you rent a place that you live in versus when you rent a place that you store your possessions in.
Yeah.
And for some reason in this country, if you go bankrupt while you're renting a place you're storing your things, they think that they own everything that you stored in there. But if you go bankrupt while you're living in an apartment, they don't take your body and put you in slavery. I mean, they don't take your furniture out of your apartment. So what's the difference there? What gives there? That's kind of BS.
It's an interesting question. All right.
If you run a, my argument obviously is that if you sell storage and somebody doesn't pay you, you do the same thing as if you rent them a house. You evict them and you put their possessions out on the curb. They can come and get them, or other people can take them. But you go through the legal process, evict them, and put their stuff out on the curb. Whereas in the storage industry, if you store $50,000 worth of goods in a unit, and you're paying them, $100, $200 a month, and then you get hit by a truck and you go bankrupt, all of a sudden they think they own your $50,000 worth of goods.
Yeah, that's how it's done, yeah.
Yeah, they don't care, why you didn't pay them. It's just the fact you didn't pay them. That's the way the contract's written up.
Do they sell your stuff at pennies on the dollar, one would presume, and then pay the bill, or do they just keep everything?
Say that again?
So if they're keeping gold bars in there, right? Let's say they've got $10,000 worth of gold bars and you're $1,000 in arrears. Chances are good they'll get something close to $10,000 for gold, for the gold as what it's worth, right? So let's say they get $9,000 for the gold. Do they take their $1,000 and then return you the $8,000?
No. They under current laws everywhere I've seen, and there have been some movements in state legislatures to change this, and legislators listen up, because it needs to be changed in every state so that if they do liquidate your stuff to get what you owe them, they should be only entitled to what you owe them and any expenses. They shouldn't be entitled to everything that's in the unit, which is the way that they do it now.
Yeah.
So those laws need to be written in state legislatures to prevent them from that ripoff.
Well, nobody's forced to put their stuff, in any particular storage unit. You do sign a contract. I have 3 friends that run storage unit operations that used to do. I got two friends that do storage units and commercial retail. I got one friend who's getting into commercial rentals. He's got storage units. He's getting into commercial rentals and getting out of
storage units,
real estate rentals. Residential rentals, because it's real hard to evict somebody, especially if they want to game the system and milk you, and they got kids. You just can't get rid of them.
I think David's point is interesting. It's probably the exception as opposed to the rule. The vast majority of people who are going into arrears on their storage unit have probably gone there and taken their stuff out. But if you do get hit by a bus, right, and you cannot go to the storage unit to get out your gold bars or whatever is of value in there, then I'd say that in most cases, it doesn't turn out the way David's talking about, probably the vast majority of cases. But in the few cases that it does, there should be some kind of limit on it. That makes some sense.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what were you talking about? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to call out something else, but I changed that because you had said something that's been on my list for a while, and I wanted to bring that up, and that is you were talking about Sarah, for instance, and you said earlier, you phrased it, you can call and talk about anything that you want.
Right. So this is Sarah calling in from New Mexico, your home girl.
Well, she ain't my home girl.
Well, she's from New Mexico.
I don't have any home girls. I happen to not like people a whole lot, and so I don't have any homeboys or homegirls or anything of the sort. So,
all right.
Anyway, that I was just using that to mark where in your radio program you had mentioned this. you use the phraseology, you can call in and talk about anything that you want.
It's true.
Whereas Ian very specifically says you can call in and bring up whatever you want, which I've always detected as being worded that way very intentionally, because you can bring it up, but if we don't like it, you ain't going to talk about it very long.
Yeah, I think that's still accurate, probably. I mean, ultimately, it has to be an interesting topic that we find compelling and have some ability to talk about. If people call in about
something boring,
right? Well, the odds on what sport are they? What sport ball are they playing right now?
No idea.
Baseball.
I don't
the
know.
odds on the Yankees beating the Red Sox in the upcoming game. I'm not going to be able to help with that in any way, shape, or form. They should be calling a sports talk station as opposed to me. It's sometimes fun to watch me cook when you bring up these topics, but ultimately that's only good for a few seconds of entertainment, and then after that it's boring. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, that still exists.
Right. And the larger picture, though, is that I had mentioned a few days ago, week or whatever, about my assessment that radio broadcast frequencies, the actual bands, kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz, is a finite resource, assuming you have to have so much space between each frequency that's being broadcast on. So it's a finite commodity, just like Bitcoin.
Yep.
Right. And I would venture to say, without having done any research, that there are very few frequencies that go unused. In other words, they're all being used. It's not like it's a worthless commodity. When, as evidenced by, if I'm accurate, that there are very few broadcastable frequencies that are not having something broadcast over them, then that's another point.
I would say that you're only accurate based on geography, right? So if it's in New York City or LA or Chicago or some major metro, then yes, that much is true that it's full. But in a lot of places in the United States and even a lot of cities, the band isn't entirely full. David, I know you have a point you're getting to here, and I'm going to hold you over. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450. Free as in freedom. Free Talk Live.
Cancer categorizes over 100 diseases. Though we do not diagnose, treat, or cure cancer, GCN team is offering the Clemson University study where there was up to a 95% reduction in cancerous cells when exposed to a plant-derived mineral supplement. If you or a loved one are searching for answers to this horrifying disease, come to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. We'll email you a copy for free. That's 877-878-4203.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com, We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
A prison reform group issued a disturbing new study this week calling conditions in women's correctional facilities deplorably unsexy. The report contends that women's prisons are bleak, dangerous environments with shockingly few soapy showers and erotically charged pillow fights. According to the Prison Justice Initiative, quote, "It's a shame that in today's society we still have jails that don't encourage kittenish girl-on-girl exploration. Prison shouldn't be a hotbed of gang violence and drugs. It should be a steamy Shangri-La where caged nymphets discover the sexuality away from the leering eyes of male society." The investigation revealed living conditions that many are calling cruel and degrading, but not in a fun or kinky way. The study's author argues that incarceration should be about more than just punishment.
The purpose of prison isn't just to lock people in a box and forget about them. It's to provide opportunities for naughty girls to play nice with each other.
Next up, a team of jock scientists have reportedly thrown the cure for asthma onto the roof of the lab. We'll talk to the nerds struggling to retrieve it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You're free to call in and talk live about whatever you want to do. Plenty of people here on the phones. We're going to get right to you. Want to real quick tell you about DLive. So if you go to dlive.freetalklive.com, it's a new streaming platform that we've recently been trying out, and we followed PewDiePie over there. So check us out at dlive.freetalklive.com. If you want to follow us, that'd be awesome. You probably have to create an account because, well, it's kind of new. There's ways to give out. It's cryptocurrency related, so you can like hand out little payments and stuff. That's cool. dlive.freetalklive.com.
I don't think you have to create an account on DLive to just listen.
Okay.
Because that's how I listened to Ernie's show, the Ernie Hancock show this morning.
Right.
Is I just clicked a DLive link and it just brought me to it. So
to listen, if you wanted to chat or do whatever.
Right,
There's quite it's a robust chat room. There's no doubt.
Very interactive.
Yeah, let's go back to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're asking about radio bans, and I kind of explained that, depending on where you are in the United States, some of the bans will be full. I think that from a population standpoint, that a good percentage of America lives in a place or near a place where the band is full, but as a geographic situation, most of America's radio band is not full. So go ahead.
Right, and we're not really counting that because if there's really nobody there to hear it, then it's kind of moot. I mean, all of our frequencies are available on the far side of the moon, for instance.
Correct.
But there's nobody there to sell things to, and so that we know of. And so what's the point? But so that was just a given in what I had presented. And then this is true of other markets as well, but it's especially true in the market that I'm in more than any place else I've ever been. But the radio here that is interactive, because there's radio that's not interactive. You just turn it on and you just listen to whatever is presented. Then there's other radio that's interactive. And I guess there's also radio that's not interactive. However, it's broadcasting, political material in an attempt to influence how you vote, and thus what they're attempting to do is to control the government. Just like a lobbyist, they're using radio. They're using radio broadcast to lobby to people and lobby to government simultaneously. And in the market that I'm in, almost every damn day, they have political operatives. Like today, coincidentally, Stephen Michael Quezada, the guy that I worked with in Breaking Bad, he's a county commissioner. He was on the radio just an hour ago for an hour, and they're using radio to attempt to control the people through the government and to control business in many different ways. And some of those programs are interactive. For instance, that one was. They took phone calls. And then when they use this finite resource to attempt to program, brainwash people to their way of thinking, there's there's some rights and responsibilities aspect that come up in that, and some First Amendment stuff and some 14th Amendment stuff, and frankly, like I told your call screener, I consider many broadcasters to be racketeers. I'm not including you, but flat out in our market, like the ones that are trying to put me in prison, for instance, or in jail for up to 6 months or up to a year, whatever it is. I don't remember.
For calling a radio show.
For calling a radio show that happens to be a public university, which is
one can see why you would get
for.
certainly upset about that, right? Like it's a pretty important point you're bringing up. Is these people have chosen to use the law to go after you for calling in when they tell people to call in. David, I appreciate it. I got some other calls here on the line. Thanks for giving us a call here on Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733. Let's go to Jack calling in from New Hampshire. Jack, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey there, Mark. How you doing tonight?
Oh, Jack, the organizer of the AltExpo.
That's right. The Alternatives Exposition.
That's
the
right.
Original fork.
And AltExpo is, why don't you describe it, Jack?
Well, so I call it the other day on this chat, we're on the original fork because we forked off of, Free State Project events, but we're actually still at Free State Project events. And what I found was back in 2007 when we started, it seemed like the Liberty Forum, the organizer, was all politics all the time. And I basically said, well, what about the alternatives? And so she says, oh, you mean alternative energy? And I said, no, alternatives to everything. Because that's the way I look at the libertarian movement. We're trying to build the things that we know will work better. I mean, I only say that because I spent my first 25 years in the movement just like complaining and, yelling at the TV news people. And,
right. And that doesn't do much, does it?
Finally, no. I found out that it just makes you more frustrated and it actually reduces your personal power in your own little world.
Your happiness. You're busy worrying about these other people doing their things as opposed to doing your thing. I think you're absolutely right. So the Porcupine Freedom Festival is a festival that they have here in New Hampshire, and the AltExpo is an event that goes alongside. There's also the AltExpo's occurred at the Liberty Forum, which is another Free State Project event here in New Hampshire. So basically, your events tend to have people presenting different ideas, less political, more sort of direct action.
That's right. The political, basic thing about a republic is you're asking other people, your representatives, to do stuff for you. And it's really frustrating. You can spend your whole life and only move things just a tiny bit. But if you take direct action, you can change your own life. And one of my best examples of that is homeschoolers. You can go and fight the school board for the whole duration of your kids' time in public schools and get almost nowhere. But if you choose to homeschool them or go to a private school or anything, you get actual results during your child's lifetime.
Right. You're still going to pay the taxes to run the monopoly school, but nonetheless, that's you're gonna see some success in that arena. So I know you guys are going to have the AltExpo going on before the Porcupine Freedom Fest at the Fork Fest, which is Free Talk Live.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's sort of our event isn't right, but it's a decentralized event that we will be attending, and people can do what they want. Tell us what you're going to be doing there.
Well, the Fork Fest is less structured, as you know, and
it's just a camping event.
At the AltExpo is usually kind of highly structured. I mean, it doesn't seem like that. We just all get together under a big tent. But what we've been doing is having what I call the speed sessions, where we have 1-hour sessions about some interesting topic, and then ba-boom, you're off the stage and the next guy is on. So, at a typical Pork Fest, we'll have we've had as many as 70 different short presentations at one of the Pork Fests a few years back when Pork Fest was bigger.
Yeah, I've seen different things where you can build a solar-powered car. I've seen stuff where a guy's talking about how to make, storm shutters on the inside of your house cheaply and easily. Just all kinds of things.
Oh, God, you remembered that. That was way back. That was 2010.
Great. Yeah,
I remember when some of these are, but yeah, we've had hundreds of talks. And
every year there's... Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Well, I was just going to say, at ForkFest, I don't know how to make it disorganized and go along with my usual approach, which is, bam, 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 one talk after another. We'll see. We'll put it together, and I'll announce it.
You got a website, Jack?
Well, we do. The AltExpo website is not built up yet, but we just messed around with it. Our domain is altexpo.net, so it's ALTEXPO.net. And all you're going to see on there is a few videos we uploaded just to test things out.
It's probably a good idea to have a link there to the Telegram group or something, some way that people can get a hold of you.
Oh, yeah, we'll have links to all the good stuff from there.
Jack, keep us updated, okay?
Yeah,
love to talk to you at ForkFest.
Okay, I got a few topics I know people will be interested in. I can
hit them real quick. You got 20 seconds.
Okay, we have a group called Replacebook, trying to figure out all the ways to replace Facebook. Mesh networking. There'll be a mesh network working at ForkFest. There's a presenter. I'm trying to get on about a worldwide shortwave radio, new broadcaster, all kinds of stuff.
Thanks for the call, Jack.
That's about all I can cover. Sure thing. We'll talk to you later, Mark.
855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Eight 855-450-3733. That's the call-in line here on Free Talk Live. It's Mark,
Jay,
and Angie.
Call in and talk about whatever you want. We might be able to squeeze you in here on this live edition of Free Talk Live. Let's go right to the phones. Got Tom from Detroit calling in. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I heard the conversation earlier about gold and silver, and I have this conversation all the time with people about what is real money. And I wanted to point something out that actually was pointed out to me by, I can't think of his name right now, on YouTube. But you guys are familiar with the National Debt Clock?
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that you can go to, I think it's USDebtClock.org or Debt Clock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look it up online, and there's this incredibly intensive site that is just running numbers constantly, showing deficits and debts and all these sorts of things for the United States government, and the numbers are exhaustive.
Yep, and it is USDebtClock.org.
Okay, thank you.
What I wanted to point out was, and I was under the assumption until I did just a little bit more research on it, I was under the assumption that the U.S. government actually posts this and is actually, just sticking it in our face to make us, just to make fun of us, because
I never believed that, Tom. I always believed it was some concerned citizen putting this up.
It is.
Because, I don't think the government could keep a site that's this complex up.
I'm looking at it.
And you're right. It is. It is a private guy. But my point to this is, if you look down to the right side, lower side of it, and it shows you dollar to silver ratio and dollar to gold ratio, it really shows you how the banks, our central banks around the world, are suppressing gold and silver. Silver and gold right now in the so-called free market is trading. Silver is at about $15 an ounce, a little under right at the moment. And yet, in this dollar to silver ratio, it's valuing it at $637 an ounce. And dollar to gold ratio is $5,170 an ounce. And most people don't even understand what that means.
Well, I don't understand what it means. What does it mean? I mean, other than the value of silver and gold are depressed.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
And the bottom line is, our currency, I mean, because it says a 1 and a 0 on a piece of paper, and it says a 1 and a 0 0 on a piece of paper, the people believe that the 1 0 0 has more value than the one with the 1 and 0.
Right.
Just a piece of paper.
Right. Well, that was the trick all along. So, like, the term dollar, I believe, is a Dutch term for a measurement of silver, and so the very using of the term, the government, used this term to measure, but now the Federal Reserve note will use the term dollar too. So this is basically a lie.
It's just a coupon for $1 is all the Federal Reserve note is.
But if it was, if you could go get $1, which is a measurement of silver, a certain amount of silver, from the past, then that would be true. And at one point, that's what it was. It was a coupon that you could go get some silver with.
Now it's not redeemable.
And now it's not redeemable because there's nothing that backs it. And I can totally see that we have all been duped, but kind of the reality is that I don't think Americans even care anymore. We beat this drum on Free Talk Live for many years, and I had such a difficult time, Tom. I used to have people would come out to my property and do some work, and I'd try to pay them in mercury dimes. I'd say, hey, this is a mercury dime. It's got this much silver in it, and, this is much it's worth. I'd love to pay you for your wages in this. And I'd even give them a little extra. And it happened vanishingly few times that I was able to pay somebody. I think it was twice in some dimes. And that was it. Everybody else is like, I got to have dollars. And, of course, they do. You want to trade those dimes in, you'd have to go to a special place. You have to pay this premium to trade them in, and then they feel like they're going to lose money, and they're certainly going to lose time. And it was really, really difficult. Mainly, it's the biggest heist that has ever been pulled on people, and apparently we don't care. Go ahead, Tom.
That exact scenario is very interesting because we just debated that recently with wanting to pay someone with actual gold or silver. But I have another real quick one before you guys let me go. As a joke, I went online on eBay and I bought the $100 trillion reserve notes from Zimbabwe.
Yep.
And the 100 and the 1 billion, the 10 billion, and the 5 billion notes. And I'm officially a quadrillionaire, my friend.
Well, you've got us beat. We've got one of those notes hanging right here on the wall here in the studio. So we are trillionaires. I've got to say.
Well, I'm a quadrillionaire.
Yeah,
my
you're
friend.
a
quadrillionaire.
quadrillionaire. Yeah, because you have so many of these, and that's the joke, right? The government printed a bunch of zeros on a piece of paper, and they said that it was worth something. Ta-da! But even they can't beat the market. When the market says that piece of paper is worthless, then it is. And that's what they're dealing with in Venezuela right now. They've had 3 different currencies. They had to knock zeros off because it was getting too hard to print them all on there. So, they went from the Bolivar to the Bolivar Fuerte, and now they got the Bolivar Sovrino or something. I don't know. And it just keeps on going.
Fiat's around the world.
Fiat is money that the government says is money.
Isn't even really necessary anymore thanks to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies because, if I want to do some trade with somebody in Venezuela, for example, 15 years ago, they would have had to go to some international money transmitter and they would have to trade their bolivars for U.S. dollars, or I'd have to trade my U.S. dollars for bolivars, and there would be percentage made. Now we can make direct money transactions with one another via Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Dash.
Right. Bitcoin Cash and Dash both have great penetration in Venezuela right now.
And literally until now, we really haven't had, as a global community, to the ability to get off fiat. We just haven't had a technology to do it up until the last 10 years. And now that, cryptocurrency adoption.
I'd like to, could I jump in there?
Sure, jump in, Tom.
Again, You claim that we've gotten off fiat, and I know where you're going with the cryptocurrency, but how is Bitcoin any more than a fiat? It has no value. It's just a calculation. You're not holding anything intrinsic in your hand that you can trade. It's just a number.
Right. And you explained it right there. That's how it's not a fiat. And it's the biggest thing is the Bitcoin network, the nodes, the 13,000 or 15,000 nodes that are decentralized are everywhere. They're all around the world, maybe some on satellites, who knows. But is it Bitcoin can't be controlled by any central authority. And that's why I like Bitcoin much better than gold or silver, because there's no such thing as decentralized gold or silver. If I hold it in my vault, I have to have a vault, and now I have to be willing to kill somebody so they don't take it from me. But there are men who, if really, really want to come take, if I had all my earnings in precious metals and they want to come take it, I'm not going to be able to stop them, because most likely it's going to be, people wearing shiny badges. To where cryptocurrency, if you're smart about it, it can be out there. It can be in a hard wallet. It can be on the cloud. It can be.
Do you have gold and silver?
I have some.
Yeah, and same here. Because you don't know what's going to happen, and I think that it's worth having some of this stuff. I also think it's worth having some food and some ammunition too. If you're
and toilet paper,
right? It's good to have those things and
skills. Our number one asset to have if the S hits the fan is skills.
Yep.
Your skills are going to be more valuable than any gold, any crypto silver, and bullets or whatever. Skills are number one. But we need to have all of these things, and we need to use them. For over 25 years, have been carrying silver with me every single day, trying to barter in silver.
Yep.
I actually
can barter in crypto.
Yeah, I can barter in crypto. I've been very, very easily, but I am constantly trying to give someone a bar of silver for something.
Yeah.
And since I've lived in New Hampshire the past couple of years now, 3 times I've been able to spend silver.
And that's
3 times.
And I know what an activist you are, so I imagine you're asking quite a few people. Tom, it's not that I wanted to pick a winner or loser in this cryptocurrency, this currency race. It's just that I agree with you that that fiat currency stinks, and I began to see the writing on the wall. All the questions you are asking are questions I asked in 2011, and it just appears as though the world is moving towards more cryptocurrency adoption, and I want to be prepared for that. Because how about this, Tom? Do you concede that cryptocurrency is superior to government fiat?
Yes, and you know what? The other gentleman that was just explaining
Jay.
something. I've never heard him before. He pointed something out really good that actually just clicked in my head.
Tom, call back in on it. Thanks for the call. Check us out at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of The Torchwood Report is next, after the news, on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,271, silver at $14.82, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,403. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, from the Sackler family who has made billions from selling opioids to the masses, to the doctors arrested for pushing their pills on unwilling Americans. Lawsuits and charges in the opioid crisis abound. However, the companies responsible for distribution of the drugs have largely gone unscathed until now. The Freethought Project reports that in a first in the government's battle against the opioid crisis, the former CEO of one of the largest opioid distribution companies in the country, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and the company itself have been criminally charged with conspiracy. According to federal prosecutors, Rochester Drug Cooperative was charged Tuesday with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The former CEO of the company, Lawrence Dowd III, was charged with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged Rochester Drug Cooperative with knowingly and intentionally violating federal narcotics laws by distributing dangerous, highly addictive opioids to pharmacy customers that it knew were being sold and used illicitly. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. 7 Navy SEALs were warned that reporting the alleged war crimes of their teammates and calling for a formal investigation could jeopardize their careers, a Navy criminal investigation report revealed. Chief Special Warfare Operator Edward Eddie Gallagher has been accused of killing an unarmed ISIS fighter with a hunting knife and firing on civilians with a sniper rifle while deployed in Iraq, as well as obstructing justice by attempting to intimidate his fellow SEALs. He allegedly threatened to kill teammates that spoke to authorities about his alleged actions. Gallagher was arrested in September 2018, following allegations of intimidating witnesses and obstruction of justice. He was officially charged in January with premeditated murder, among other crimes. His direct superior is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
They started with Google Glass, and now the engineers behind Google have created a new body part to strap gadgets onto. They're calling it the flange, and the new synthetic skin appendage fits between the shoulder blades into a flat surface capable of holding a wide array of new gadgets for Google to hawk to consumers. While unveiling the innovation today, Google CEO Larry Page said, quote, "The possibilities for the number of completely pointless gadgets to strap, bind, and stick to your body are now endless." Early adopters are already raving about the synthetic body part.
It overheats and burns my skin pretty bad when I have it on, but I'm really getting to like it. I'm actually thinking of getting a second one installed.
Critics are cautioning the tech world to not hail the flange as an achievement yet, since several users have reported problems with the device permanently grafting to their spinal column if worn overnight. Coming up next, Doritos unveils new e-Doritos that come in JPEG form whenever you're hungry.
This is the Onion News Network.
But we bring in some show prep too. I got an article here from one of my favorites, the Foundation for Economic Education, because, well, frankly, I think we all need a little education in economics. 5 lucrative jobs that don't require a college degree.